Broads Media.
What is going on, everyone? Let's talk more about this Eagles-Giants game. Before we do, if you're new to the channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all the support. I love you all so much. It's ridiculous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And real quickly, if you're looking to buy tickets to go to any NBA, NHL, NFL games, you can utilize the promo code BROADS at SeatGeek's checkout for $20 off. $20 off. That's eliminating the fees right from the jump. It is a no-brainer. Get yourself to a game today. And with that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. It's the day after. It's a very emotional day, and there's nothing worse than starting off the new week. Monday, you make a cup of coffee in the morning, and it doesn't taste as good. Victory Monday is so crucial because the coffee is just beautiful. The smell in the morning, the taste when it hits your taste buds, it just hits a new level. But when it's a loss and it's a brutal Monday, it's a disappointing Monday, it's a I hate my life Monday, and you go to Wawa. I love that. I always use Wawa as my example, but that's Wawa. I don't know what Wawa is, but my Wawa coffee, I always use it as the example because I always have these great moments with the guy behind me or the woman behind me that wears the Eagles hat, and it's like, hey, what do you got? A donut and a coffee? I got you, right? But when they lose, it's screw you, jerk off, get out of my way, asshole. So it's a totally different mindset involved, and yeah, it sucks. And I will say this. Look, Nick Sirianni spoke. There's a lot to dive into on the injury front, but I like to tune in to other markets, hear their tone, hear what they're thinking, and the Michael Kay Show is one that I listen to even when it's not related to the Eagles. But the Michael Kay Show is up in New York, and it's like, okay, what are they going to talk about when it comes to the Giants? I tune in at 3 o'clock. I did not hear one peep, not one peep. It's been over an hour and a half, and all they've been talking about, rightfully so, is Max Scherzer going to the Mets, and then all this drama happening in the baseball world. But you're telling me the Giants beat the Eagles, and they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. And that either tells you, one, how they feel about their own team, which I think it's fair to kind of look at it through that lens, considering I saw a lot of empty seats at the Meadowland. And then, two, maybe what that says about the Eagles as well. Not that this is new information for us, but it just puts it in perspective of, I don't care how much of a baseball town you are, and the Yankees and the Mets, and you talk baseball because that's your number one. It's the NFL, okay? It's Monday after an NFL game where the Giants win, the Jets win, and I heard more Jets than I did Giants, and that's probably because Robert Salah is on the program, so they interviewed him, but I digress. I just think it's interesting to kind of look around and feel out what the other market is kind of dissecting when it comes to a big win for them, 13-7. They come out on top. They grab a win. Joe Judge, they fire their offensive coordinator. They bring in Freddie Kitchens, and for over an hour and a half, I did not hear one sentence, not one, about that win, which is just absolutely insane. What else is insane? Unfortunately for us, Jalen Hurts and his ankle. So what we're hearing at this point is we'll have more information after Wednesday, but he's to be determined basically with a sore ankle. I would be really disappointed if I don't get to watch him play. For all the morons and idiots out there that have been screaming to let's get Gardner Minshew. There were some that wanted to bench Jalen Hurts. You know what losing organizations do? They flip-flop quarterbacks every other week. Oh, the Carolina Panthers. Let's start with Sam Darnold. Let's go to, who is it now? P.J. Tucker. I always say P.J. Tucker with him. Whoever the hell it is from Temple that's playing in Carolina. Then it's Cam Newton. Then Cam Newton gets benched. Now we're going to this guy. Losers do that. This season was about a 17-game window of Jalen Hurts. I want to see how he handles adversity. I don't want him to get benched for Gardner Minshew, who sucks. So if you have that foolish mindset, get the hell out of my face. I cannot comprehend it. Whether Jalen Hurts answers the test or not, it's not about what the result is. It's finding out what the result is. So whether he passes or fails, he might fail. And that might not result in the best of what we're looking for here, but it's the process of figuring out that information which stands out to me the most. And here's one thing I will give credit to Jalen Hurts for while he was piss poor. And his piss poor play is a reason why you were in this position to begin with. But there's something to be said, and I have to give credit to Mike Gill, who I worked with at 97.3 ESPN for a couple of years. I heard him say this on his show today. And it's like with the NBA, right? There are guys who end up going out there and they stink for 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, and a part of the reason why the game is close in the fourth quarter is because of how putrid they were throughout the first 3 quarters. But there's just a different sense of urgency in the fourth, and they get into a little bit of a rhythm, and they make a couple shots, and they make some big shots. Jalen Hurts, right on the money, right at the end. Now, I don't know what that means. I mean, if you're a disaster for 3 quarters consistently, yeah, obviously that's not a huge deal, and it's not something to rely on consistently. But there is an element here, as I'm trying to break down consistently who Jalen Hurts is. There is an element here of those drives smelling like they were going to be a drive that you end up punching it in and scoring. Unfortunately, Boston Scott ends up fumbling the football during the one drive, and then the throw to Jalen Reagor, the multiple throws. Now, Nick Sirianni was asked about this during the post-game presser, the day after press conference, and he was like, yeah, you know what? Devontae Smith was the read on that final play, but then he also talked about maybe the route running and how it wasn't as crisp as it needed to be. I made it very clear that Devontae Smith, during that route when he was running down the left side with his hand up in the air, there was a window for Jalen Hurts to definitely probably thread the needle there, but at the same time, it's not as simple as everybody was making it out to be. NFL quarterbacks at this level, should they be able to accomplish that? Yes, that is my answer. Yes, I feel an NFL quarterback that has a good enough arm can make that throw, and they take that risk, and they feel confident with making that throw because they have zip on the football. But, I mean, to escape the pressure with help over the top there with the secondary, it wasn't as egregious as I feel that some are making it out to be. But there is legitimacy to him having to deliver that throw, and a franchise quarterback should easily put that right on the money for the Eagles to win, especially if that's your first read, which opens up the door to this conversation of why did Jalen Reagor get so many looks? And Nick Sirianni can say what he wants. I also know that he consistently throws out there that Jalen Reagor is someone who is explosive and needs to get worked through with this offense. So, I mean, he could say whatever he wants, but at the end of the day, I have my feeling that whether it's coming from Howie, Jeffrey Lurie, Nick Sirianni, there was a reason why Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert were not targeted as much as Reagor. We go back to that 3rd and 2, 4th and 2 sequence where they throw the football twice. If you know you're going for it on 4th, there's no way in hell you should not be running on 3rd down, especially when that's your bread and butter and that's what helps you out the most. But my point of bringing that up is it was, hey, we're going to throw the football right to your left. You're going to look instantly, and you're going to throw it to Jalen Reagor. That was predetermined before the snap. He was targeted for a reason that many times. I'm not buying anything they try and sell to you. Now, before we get to the Anytime Hotline calls and react to everybody, we need to, what was I going to bring up there? I just had a total brain fart. Oh, well, Jack Driscoll is on the IR again, which means he is done for the season. But, oh, yes. Okay, so Tim McManus tweeted this out. All 3 interceptions against the 4-man rush. So they were dropping 7 a lot. They were clearly shadowing Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert's side. But this is where we're at here. All right, Eagles have counters to this. With the 4-man rush and dropping guys back, there are counters to this. And wow, what do you know? It's what this team has been doing to have this nice run and have this nice stretch. You have the manpower in the trenches and handing off the football to counter that by plowing through. Did you see Mailata yesterday? Mailata was on a tear, and he was destroying everyone that came in his way. If you go watch Baldy's breakdowns, the fact that this offensive line, it was easy. It was nonstop, mowing guys down left and right. The counter was there. Do what got you there. And don't tell me you looked at the box score afterwards and say, well, technically, no. Stop it. Did you watch the game? The flow and the lack of the run game early on, it all played a role. The box score does not dictate what actually happened in the middle of the action. It tells a different story. So don't tell me, well, he only threw the ball 31 times, so it wasn't as if it was 40 or X amount that's egregious. You're right, the overall total amount isn't egregious, but there's still such thing as context, and there's moments in games, and there's putrid play calling, and there's bad moments to pick and choose when you are throwing the ball. And there was clearly an emphasis on airing the damn ball out, which made no sense. They got too cute, and they overlooked the strategic side of this. The coaching staff did. Jalen Hurts was first in average time before throwing. So, it tells me that if he's first in average time before throwing, him standing in the pocket, he's hunting these throws. And you think he's just randomly hunting them just because he wants to? Or he's being coached to do it? Or he's being told to do so? He did a bad job of scanning the field. He did a bad job at making decisions. That's all true. But at the same time, this coaching staff did not put him in the best position to succeed. And I don't think it's as simple as, well, if your coaches can't tell your quarterback to throw the ball, well, then he's a disaster and he sucks. There might be limitations, but don't tell me that this New York Giants team couldn't be beat with Jalen Hurts. Please tell me you're aware of that. Because at the end of the day, this matchup, this Eagles team, you could talk about Reagor sucks. You could talk about injuries on the offensive line. You could talk about a lot of things. And I thought Quez Watkins made some nice catches out there as well, just to throw that in there. Had that nice 18-yard gain down the right side. There's something to his skill set. It's just going to take time for him to grow. But you go back to, you might be right big picture about that, but against the New York Giants, who blow, who suck, who's a dumpster fire. They're already firing their GM at the end of the season. The list goes on and on. Daniel Jones is not good. Barkley stinks. He ain't what he was supposed to be. Blame it on the injuries. Blame it on whatever. Second overall pick, disaster. The money, disaster. It's all brutal. Big picture over 3-4 years, you might be right. Right now, for the backstretch, this team has enough talent to put away a New York Giants team. And I believe it's malpractice the way that the Eagles handle this all around. So Jalen Hurts, a lot of the blame. Nick Sirianni, a lot of the blame. It starts with those two for me. Then Jalen Reagor, blame. But there's a lot of people that are just not looking at Nick Sirianni here just because the quarterback had his struggles. But the coach put the quarterback in the position to do that when that's clearly not his strongest suit. And while he's sitting in the pocket that long hunting for these shots, it tells me that the coaching staff went away from what has been a smooth ride to this point, going in a different direction. Still relying on Jalen Hurts to make certain throws out there throughout the 60 minutes, but you don't need to ask him to do as much as he needed to, especially against the Giants. Not this specific week as an individual matchup. Maybe long term, I'm with you. I'm willing to have the conversation. I always have been. I never picked and choose totally. I've said that I feel he's done things at times to say, hey, he deserves another opportunity, another year, as long as you utilize those assets in the first round to help out your defense and to get game-changing players for years to come throughout your roster. So you kind of have a stopgap type of guy while just seeing if he improves, and if he doesn't, you eventually get that quarterback, whether it's at the end of next year or whatever the case may be. And I'm still okay with that. Because I think people are knee-jerk reaction to saying that this guy sucks now. He doesn't suck. After Denver's game, people were saying he's a franchise quarterback. He's not that either. He's somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in between he lives. And it's like, yeah, there's a handful of games left to kind of figure this thing out. But over the last 3 weeks or so, it's been a no-brainer that he deserves another shot. One bad game, and this guy's the fucking worst. It's like, relax. Yeah, it was miserable, and it was really bad, and I'm disappointed that the moment happened where he was tested and he failed. But at the same time, I'm not going to just say that he doesn't know how to play at all and he'll never be able to succeed just because of that. Now, I did hear one good point here that's made, and if by the end of the season you don't know what the answer is and you're saying, I don't know if he's the guy or not, then he's not the guy. Because the only way you would feel confident in saying it is if you fully knew. And if you don't know, that means there's too many questions to fully buy in. I could get behind that. I'm not anti heading in another direction. I just don't like the extremes to both sides. So there's that. He didn't really read through his progressions. He stared down his receivers. The interception that happened at the halftime, right before the halftime, was unacceptable garbage. And that stuff can't happen. But it's also an outlier to see him turn the ball over 3 times and have 3 interceptions. Part of the thing that we used to stress about Jalen Hurts was he doesn't turn the rock over. If there's one thing he's good at, it's keeping the ball in his hands and not forcing turnovers. So this sticks out like a sore thumb in the category of something we're not accustomed to seeing from him. So is this who he is fully? No, I don't believe so. Now, what I do know is WinView, and that's amazing. WinView is the nation's leading sports predictor, allowing you to compete in pregame or live contests against other people, not the house. So forget about spreads, salary caps, and over-unders. All you need to do is answer questions about the game that you love. It's so great, right? They have a deposit bonus right now up to $100. What that means, for all first-time users, your first deposit will be doubled up to $100. If you deposit and spend $50, you'll get $100. If you deposit and spend $100, you'll get $200. This is the perfect bonus to take advantage of during the MLB season that's going to come up on us, obviously. The NBA season, NHL season, NFL season. There's week-long contests, weekend-long contests. There's in-game contests. It's magnificent. All you do, instead of having to worry about and researching players and over-unders and numbers and tendencies and things of that nature, just answer the questions about the games. That's it. Answer questions about the games. If you get it right, you're cashing out and money is going right into your pocket. I am nonstop winning. It's beautiful. My fiance's getting lobster dinner. My dogs are eating well. My shoes are becoming more and more fantastic. I'm heading out to all these apps and I'm buying nonstop shoes because I'm turning into a sneakerhead. I can't thank WinView enough for giving me this opportunity, and you should check it out as well. Their information is in the description, winview.tv/broads. Make sure you check them out there. All right, let's head on over to the Anytime Hotline. Hear from the people after this game. Here we go.
What in the literal fuck was that? Like, just, this team's going to make us all have, like, fucking aneurysms, man. It's bad for our mental health. And you know what? It's fitting that that game ended on a potential touchdown that was dropped by Jalen Reagor. That was a battle of 2 dumpster fires, and I'm not going to be mad at Nick Sirianni, even though the play calling at some points was pretty shit, but that was an overall shitfest by the entire team all around. Defense, maybe not, but then again, the Giants are shit on offense, so you should be able to beat them, so I can't really say otherwise, but overall, fuck the Eagles.
Wow. I mean, I think that's a little aggressive there towards the end, without a doubt. But here's what I'll say. You know, you say that I'm not going to really blame Nick Sirianni too much, and then you go into talking about how this team was shit, not so much defensively. So you're basically admitting the offense was shit. How can you not get on Nick Sirianni, the head coach, especially after noticing that some of his play calls were bad? Like, what? That doesn't even make sense to me. You're literally laying out on display here that Nick Sirianni and the offense were garbage, which is that's what his job is. His job is to maintain a lot more than that, but he's clearly the offensive mind of this football team. So what you're referencing was bad was his area and his target and what he puts all the details in for the game plan each week. So you shouldn't give Nick Sirianni a free pass, even though Jalen Hurts was making bad throws out there, but he was set up to fail. And I do struggle with this internally because I do wonder. It's like, okay, how am I upset with putting your quarterback in a position to throw the ball? That's also his job. But at the same time, you have to know that he's different. He's not your traditional quarterback who's going to sit in the pocket and nonstop pick apart the opponent over and over and over again. That does not mean that you can't generate success by heading in another direction. Lamar Jackson's coming off of a poor throwing performance. but they consistently have double-digit wins. Now, to be fair, they are struggling to get over the hump. But here's what I'm going to bring up to you. He needs to lose to figure out how to adapt in the playoffs. Gunslinging young quarterbacks are going to lose in the playoffs, and they're going to have to learn how to adjust and how to be better. Let's use Dak Prescott as an example, because he's not elite, but he's not bad either. He's a very good quarterback. Every Eagles fan would take Dak Prescott as their franchise quarterback. Unless you're an idiot, you would be okay if Dak Prescott's your franchise guy and you move forward with that type of leader, with that type of skill set, right? He's not elite. He's not average. He's a very good quarterback. He's losing in the playoffs when they get there. There's all these adjustments that happens with quarterbacks that are not just running quarterbacks like Lamar who are struggling. A lot of quarterbacks struggle in the playoffs, whether they're gunslingers or runners. So to be fair and to look at this objectively, it's not only the Ravens and Lamar Jackson that struggle to win playoff games just because of their quarterback. A lot of these young quarterbacks. Let's utilize Justin Herbert as an example. He's a very fun, exciting guy, and I would want him here any day of the week. But if I'm being honest, there's probably going to be playoff games throughout Justin Herbert's career where he might be a gunslinger, but he's going to lose games because of certain things that he does. And then over time, you have to learn as a player to get over that hump. So it's not just a running style quarterback compared to a throwing quarterback. And Joe Banner, who I respect greatly, is putting out on Twitter, when was the last time a quarterback won and was winning playoff games who's better at running than they are throwing the football? Here's my argument back to that. How many quarterbacks are, and that doesn't mean there's no way to actually have sustained success with this, but I'm saying it's rarer to have that. And it's not necessarily because it doesn't work at all. It's just because they're unique. It's not traditional. I think that's fair to say. It's unique, but it doesn't mean it's impossible to legitimately utilize it. It might be a little more difficult to work around it. Maybe it's not as difficult as some make it out to be, though. And just because it's more in the rarity and more in the outlier, it doesn't mean that it's not necessarily a beneficial tool either. I mean, look, I've been pretty consistent on this. I have my concerns. I don't know if he's the answer. I guess it's as simple as this. When people say he sucks, I sound like a Jalen Hurts supporter. When people support him and claim he's easily the guy, I sound like a Jalen Hurts hater. I'm stuck in the middle. I lean towards he's probably lacking a little bit. Like he's doing enough to kind of keep you in that range, but once again, if that's where he is and he's not a definitive yes, well then maybe that's your answer. That the answer is no. But at the same time, I know athletes need time. I know athletes need time to grow. So it puts me in a very uncomfortable spot. I don't know where they go from here. I'm willing to find out what these last handful of games look like, because if they look like anything we saw in Denver and against the New Orleans Saints, that's all solid. If he looks like this against the Giants, which I don't anticipate seeing because I think this sticks out like a sore thumb, well, then we have a serious problem and you got to look in another direction. It was always about the 17-game sample size this year, not one random week where you close your eyes and pick one on the schedule, because you're not going to get enough information if that's the case. It'll be very skewed. What's next?
Man, I cannot believe what I just witnessed. Jalen Hurts was really bad. He was terrible. But when it mattered the most late in the fourth quarter, Jalen delivered. Jalen Hurts delivered. Jalen Reagor, what a fucking disgrace he is. It's unreal. I don't know what happened to that game-changing speed we were told about. He can't separate. He can't catch the damn ball. He's still returning punts and kicks. He can't do that either. It's unreal. And for the people that are complaining about Jalen Hurts missing Devontae Smith, first off, we shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place, because Hurts threw a dime down the sideline to Jalen Reagor, who dropped the ball in the end zone. And on the last play of the game, look, he may have missed Devontae Smith open, but it was 4th and long, no timeouts left. Jalen Reagor had positioning right at the goal line, and Hurts threw it up to him to make a play.
I agree. See, there is this reaction of it's on Jalen Hurts to not throw it to Jalen Reagor. I don't know what type of human being is going to be sitting in that pocket when 300-pound men are chasing them around and then think, oh, I can't throw it here. Imagine if he didn't throw it because it was Jalen Reagor, and then he ends up taking a sack and he can't get a throw off, his arm gets hit, and then everyone would be freaking out, go, well, why didn't you throw it? And then his response would be, oh, I didn't want to give Jalen Reagor an opportunity to make a play because the last time I did, he sucked so badly and you guys told me not to. No, these same people would be ripping him and destroying him for not getting the throw off, and it's a bad decision by him, and he takes a hit on a late game situation where you at least might as well take a shot at it. And at the end of the day, here's the reality of the situation. He made a great throw to a wide receiver who was open. I mean, he did his, yes, was there maybe a better shot and a better shot? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it was still a very, very good shot, a very, very, very good pass to Jalen Reagor right there at the one, and who knows what would have happened in the sequence after that, but it's not like the decision was a disastrous decision by any means. You had two very good options, and he chose one of the options. That was very good as well. I mean, it wasn't like this disastrous move, so I guess that's where I have the problem, and, you know, it's funny because now there's the reaction of, and I even see it trending today, Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman sucks, and I can't believe Howie Roseman drafted Jalen Reagor. We knew Jalen Reagor sucked. So me, and I feel like I'm a little different here, but when people see this on display, they naturally go back to Howie where, I mean, this is not new information to me. I've seen Jalen Reagor play to this point. This makes a lot of sense to me. This won't trigger any emotions because this was inevitable, and this was obvious. This was obvious. Jalen Reagor can't play. Didn't we all know that? Didn't we all discuss this for months and months and months about how bad of a pick it was? So when it happens, it doesn't change my mentality on Howie Roseman, this and that. Like, we knew. We all knew. I get it. It's an adrenaline rush to describe it and to freak out about it because it happened in that moment and it brings back those eternal emotions. But at the end of the day, you know, I knew that Howie Roseman botched it and butchered it already to this point where when I see it, it's like, yep, this is kind of how it's supposed to go when you botch a pick that way. And he's playing at the level of undrafted free agent. That's the way he's playing right now. It's not even competent at the NFL level. This is worse than J-Jaw. This is worse than Aguilar. This is worse than Aguilar. People forget. Aguilar had a monster Super Bowl. Let me say that again. A monster Super Bowl. You think Jalen Reagor could ever have that type of production? Hell no. I'd sit his ass down. I'd sit his ass down for Greg Ward, even though Greg Ward missed a couple throws. I think he's missing some of those throws because he's just targeted very minor amount of times at this point. And you would think that, hey, look, you get an opportunity, you better cash in on it because they're so limited and that's how you earn more playing time. But easier said than done. I'm taking a shot on someone else. But you did get the message today from Nick Sirianni that it's not in the best interest of this football team, which is just not true at all. And then, yes, my brain automatically goes to the front office making these type of decisions for sure. What's next?
Hey, Bruce. I wish I could say I'm surprised by what happened in this game today, but I'm really not. You know, it's just a marker of a young team, but really it was just bad coaching by Sirianni. The Eagles come into this game after having over 200 yards on the ground, and their strategy for the first two quarters is to try to establish the pass. What is Nick Sirianni thinking, bro? Like, I don't understand it. We squandered away the best defensive performance that we've had all season. And everything was there for the taking. Everything was in front of this team, and they just let it go. And to be honest, I just want to see, like, I'm curious to see what all the Howie Roseman ass kissers have to say. What do you guys have to say about Jalen Reagor's performance? I want to see what you have to say because Howie Roseman is God and can't do anything wrong.
Well, I mean, I just laid it out for you. This game did not tell me that. We knew, right? I mean, and I'm not a I don't know if you're referencing me. I do stand on the track of he's not as bad as Eagles fan make him out to be, but that does not mean that I'm ever going to argue against selecting Jalen Reagor to this point. It was a very brutal pick, but this does not, I mean, yes, this describes that, but is that what you needed to see for confirmation, or has this already been confirmed, considering my man gets negative plays every single week? I mean, it just doesn't really... I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. Maybe I see it a lot differently than everybody else. It seems that I do. But for me, that doesn't hit the spark like it does for others. In terms of the head coach, I thought you were a little strong on the defense. This wasn't anything special defensively. The Giants are that bad. The Giants are garbage. It's very difficult to get destroyed and annihilated and waxed by this Giants team with or without Jason Garrett being the offensive coordinator, to the point where, I said I can't bash the defense, but I also can't give them some standing ovation either, where it was just a magical performance. I think a lot of it just kind of played out the way that it did because of what the New York Giants did. I mean, let's be realistic. Some of those blitzes, a lot of those blitzes got picked up pretty good, and Freddie Kitchens had the answer and the response, whether it was a screen pass on 3rd and 7, you name it. Every time that Jonathan Gannon brought something, the New York Giants kind of cashed in for the most part, so it wasn't some magnificent journey. And yeah, with Nick Sirianni, I think it starts with him. I lean towards you, but it also seemed like you were giving Jalen Hurts more of a free pass than I am. It's the combination of both. It started out with Nick Sirianni, and then, of course, it kind of snowballed down to Jalen Hurts as well. And another thing I'm having difficulty kind of playing around with is the Giants obviously wanted them to throw the football. What type of team who sucks this badly and who's banged up this badly too in the secondary are saying, hey, let's have Jalen Hurts throw it. That's our recipe to win. It's not very good, but once again, then it goes back to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts to dial up a game plan where, yes, you can throw the ball. If you're rushing 4 and dropping back 7, let's go. Let's pound the rock and let's go. Let's run the football down their throats and not play into exactly what they want us to do. Isn't that what this game's all about? Chess? When one team's playing chess and one team's playing checker, you got to maneuver around these motherfuckers. Well, if they want you to throw it, hey, let's just go right into what they want us to do. That's bad coaching, in my opinion. You went right into what they wanted you to do. We'll take one more here.
Hey, what's up, bro? It's a really tough loss today. I'm starting to think that this team only got here because of Jordan Howard. I mean, Jalen Hurts looked horrible today. I mean, horrendous plays by Jalen Hurts. I mean, these picks are like in double coverage. What the hell are you doing, Hurts? Miles, he had an all right game. The defense stepped up again. Shout out to the defense. But really, the run game is the only thing that we had going. And tough to say it, but I think Jordan Howard is the only reason we got this far.
What that's doing, though, is it's downplaying Jalen Hurts' ability to run and the threat that he is to make plays with his legs. If you go back and study why they were able to have so much success, it starts with the offensive line and them winning their battles consistently. And then the fact that Jalen Hurts puts the ball in the pocket, and what I mean by that is puts the ball in like the breadbasket of the running back, and you can see these defensive ends kind of have to make an adjustment and make a decision. And then Jalen Hurts, because he's such a dual threat, this opens up the door and opens up the lanes and gives them even another opportunity than just a basic run through your offensive line. And that does dictate the style of play and dictate the ability for some of these running backs to get even more of a gap and more of a hole to explode more than they would naturally. So I think there's legitimacy to saying he does it in such a simple way that, yeah, sometimes he just reads the hole and hits it in an easy, smooth direction. But at the same time, you can't downplay. If you go back to the Saints and study what was so awesome about that, Jalen Hurts and his threat with the legs really did open up everything for this offense. So you can't just make it as simple as Jordan Howard. Now, when you talk about Miles Sanders, I know he has a skill set, and it just seems still very raw. He's not polished. He's not a polished runner. And factor in, my man's always hurt. It's always something. It's always nicked up here, hamstring there, ankle there, this and that and this. I mean, it's nonstop with Miles Sanders. That you can't trust him. No matter how pure of a runner he is and his ability to kind of break through. And he had that awesome run to start the third quarter and start that second half. He's just not a reliable guy. And I don't know what that means for the long run here. I think I've been pretty clear about how I stand on him. He's not someone that I want to be fully committed to forever. But yeah, it's just something to think about. And yes, there is a difference between Howard and Sanders and Scott and all of them and Gainwell, but I can't just discredit Jalen Hurts' legs and what he does for this offense in the run game too. All right, that's where we're going to end things here. There's still so many anytime hotline calls I want to get to. We will hopefully utilize them throughout the week when we continue talking about this football team and get updates on their status and things of that nature. Before we head out of here, DeSimone Jewelers. They are my jewelers. I got my fiance's engagement ring from them, and I continue to go back, whether it's her birthday, whether it's Christmas, whether it's the holidays, Valentine's Day. Why? Because they're the best in the business. They work with you to get the best design at the most reasonable prices you will find in the market. They're a family-owned business located in Haddonfield, New Jersey, previously in Jewelers Row. Will, Lou, Nick, Mike, they really do care about you. You're not just a customer. They sit you down. They have so much passion. They love to educate you on exactly what you're buying. They have custom jewelry design, jewelry repairs, appraisals, watch repairs, battery replacement, diamond setting, jewelry cleaning, and so much more. Their information is down below in the description as well, DeSimoneJewelers.com. Tell them that Broads sent you. They will hook you up. It is A+, and I truly do mean that. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today on this episode of Sports Talk with Broads, and I will see you next time.